Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Business and Beyond's Feature Friday with Tanya Bartolini, your host. Today, I have a great guest, Tyler Osborne. He is a financial educator, speaker, and host of the Money Master podcast, where he simplifies wealth building and financial strategy. I know I need it simplified, so thank you for that. A former JP Morgan professional and college football player, he blends real world finance with discipline and mindset. Tyler helps individuals and business owners take control of their money, build assets, and create long term wealth with clarity and confidence. And I think we all need a little bit of that. So, welcome, Tyler. Thank you for being here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So, can you tell me a little bit about your business, why you got into it, why you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, but I'll wrap it all in and it all makes sense. So, I'm born and raised in California, grew up out there, grew up on the east side of San Jose, which quote unquote is the hood. And actually, sports saved my life. And the reason I just say that, because majority of my friends growing up are now they're no longer living in prison or strung on drugs. So, kind of thank God I got away from them. Crazy as well. My little brother was shot 5 times and survived and lived. Thank God, right? One of my closest friends growing up was shot 12 times,
Oh
survived
my.
and survived and lived, and he's in prison for 20 plus years now. But that's why I say God saved my life because I ended up getting the football scholarship to the University of St. Mary's in Kansas. In 2010, I was in the what's called the small school NFL combine. Basically, at that point in time, they used to have these little combines for kids who didn't go to big schools, and then you go there and compete, and they can see if you go ahead and qualify to be in the NFL draft and stuff like that. Well, I didn't get drafted, so I had to figure out what to do next. I went to school for psychology. I wanted to be a marriage counselor. Then I got married to my wife and decided no longer wanted to be a marriage counselor. All right. So for those of you that are married, you could probably relate. And how to feel us do next. And at that point in time, excuse me. And now we have me and my wife still married. We have 4 children. I have an 18-year-old son. I have
Oh, God bless.
a 15-year-old daughter, 14-year-old son, and a 12-year-old daughter. So boy, girl, how they're all born. But I had to figure out what to do next. And I remember I was up one night, praying. I'm a man of faith. And the Lord was like, well, go apply for JP Morgan. I said, money? JP Morgan? All right, cool. So I got up and I started filling out this application, and I ended up starting doing like a math test on a Friday evening. And I was like, what am I doing? And my sister-in-law was a banker at a credit union in California as well. And I asked her, I was like, did you have to do like a algebra test to work for, work for a bank? She was like, no. I was like, yeah, and I got frustrated. I was like, I don't want to do this crap. So I just stopped in the middle of it. Right? And I took my wife, we went and saw a movie. I couldn't tell you what the movie was. It must not have been good. Because like, I remember everything else but what movie we watched. Anyways, so ended up getting back home probably around like 11:45, 12 o'clock at night. And the Lord just kind of spoke to me like, go finish that application. So I got up, went to finish that. I'm doing math till like 1:30 in the morning on a Friday, early Saturday morning. And that was that weekend. I ended up finishing that application. And I got a call Tuesday from a lady named Jeannie Cox. That quick. The lady called me named Jeannie Cox. She said, "Hey, how you doing? This is Jeannie. Wanted to reach out to you. Calling from JP Morgan. Wanted to invite you in for an interview. I saw your application. You scored really high on the math test." So did I really? It's like
I
okay.
love it.
I said okay, cool. So then she schedules me for an interview out in Mountain View, California. And I ended up going out to this interview in Mountain View, California, sitting down with the branch manager over there, and we're having a great conversation. He's like, I like you. I want to invite you back to go ahead and sit down with our GM. I said, okay, cool. When do you want me to come back? Tomorrow? Next? He's like, can you come back in like an hour and a half? I'm like, all right, I'll figure it out. Cool.
Okay.
So I came back an hour and a half later, and I'm sitting out with the GM, and the GM's asking me questions. He's asking me a bunch of questions about, how come over the last year and a half you didn't have a job? And I was like, well, I was training for the NFL. That was like my main focus. Like, I don't know if you know how football is in America, but you can make a lot of money doing this. And that's all I was doing for the last year and a half. And he just could not get over that fact. And he basically said I wasn't ambitious because I didn't have a job. And at that point in time, I was only like 21 years old or so. And I was just in shock about how much he just laid into me about that. So I left there like, dang, I didn't get that job. Ended up going home, and a couple of days later, Jeannie called me back. She goes, "Hey, Tyler, how you doing? Want to reach out? How'd that interview go?" I said, "I don't think I got that. I've never heard anything back. You're the most recent person I've heard from JP Morgan." She's like, "Really?" She's like, "I thought for sure you get it. Like, I love you as a candidate." I was like, "Oh, I appreciate that." She's like, "You know what? I'm gonna set you up with a whole nother interview outside that guy's district. I'm gonna send you to a hiring interview in Fremont, California." I said, "Okay, cool." So I went to this hiring interview for JP or hiring event for JP Morgan. They call it a hiring event, but there's only like three of us there. Uh, Anyways, I walk into this room. I get seated into another like little office room, and a gentleman comes in by the name of Eric Powell. I'll never forget him, and I appreciate him. And we sat down for the next hour and a half, and all we did is talk about football. He didn't mention anything about my work experience, didn't worry about if I'm good in sales, and didn't worry about if I was good in finances. He didn't worry about any of that. An hour and a half, all we did is talk football. And he was just so intrigued about my mindset when it came to understanding discipline and reaching goals and working with the team and just everything that you kind of learn through playing sports. But obviously, when you play in college, you just play it you just do that at a higher level. And afterwards, I walked out that room like, I think I got this one, but how the last one was, I don't know. So then, literally about 3 days later from that, I get a call from a lady named Vicky, who was the branch manager at a location in Cupertino, California. And I come in, I meet with Vicky, and Vicky's she hires me on the spot. She's like, "Hey, this is for you. We like you. Eric said some great things about you. He's not even the GM of this location." He just spoke so highly of you that we want to go ahead and offer you the opportunity. And I said, "Okay, awesome." So I took the opportunity, and then for the next 2 years, I was with them. I was with JP Morgan from that point forward. So that's how I got into the industry per se. That's kind of like my journey story of how I got into it. Now from there, how I ended
Well,
up.
I'm going to stop you
Okay, go
right
for it.
there just for a second
Yes,
because
ma'am.
you have said something that I want my audience to catch, which is I want to showcase how different people perceive things from their own experience and in different ways, right? You had one person interview you who could care less about the fact that you were training for a year and a half to get drafted into the NFL. And you had another person who saw the value in it
Hmm.
and discussed that with you for your interview, right? So we have one who could not see past their own limited belief system, right? And
Yes.
another one who was more open minded, who could see the value in different things, not just actual work that he's done. Um, and that just it reminds me of that story of when a dad, and I don't know if everybody knows it, but a dad gave a car to his son and he said, "Hey, go to the dealership and see how much it's worth." And the dealership gave him like 5 grand or something. And then he said, "Well, go to the pawn shop and see." And the pawn shop was like, "Oh, we'll give you a grand." And the son's like, "Dad, why are you giving me this piece of crap? Right? What am I going to do with it?" And he goes, "You know what, son? Go to the what are those people that collect? Oh, to the collectors,
Hmm.
right? To a collector's auction or something." And they told him it was worth 100 grand.
Yep.
Right. So it depends on where you are, and you should never, ever base your self worth on other people's opinions.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Right. So thank you so much for sharing that and allowing me to just showcase those moments that you've experienced, so we can all learn from them. So sorry for interrupting.
No, you're fine, and I 1,000% agree. It was the exact. I was the exact same person. I just showed up to two different people, and one person valued me, one person didn't. And you're 1,000% right on that.
That, so okay, that's how you got into the industry.
That's how I got into the industry. So from there, I was working with JP Morgan for a couple years, and a person basically had to have a certain amount of money to sit down and speak with me. And I kind of really didn't like that because that means I just really couldn't help as many people as I wanted to. So that was one thing. Secondly, I had helped somebody do about a $500,000 rollover of an old 401k/IRA. And JP Morgan had paid me about 2 grand. So I'd made 2 grand in 1 hour. At that point in time, I was like 22 years old. And I was fired up. I was like, "Yeah, I made 2 grand. Yeah." I was so excited. And then I went home and did my research and found out that 2,000 would have been closer to 30,000 if I just would have had my own company. So wait a dang minute.
Yeah, there's a big discrepancy there.
Right. And remember, like I mentioned earlier, I'm from the hood, so I wanted to cut somebody. I didn't though, thank God, but I was highly upset, highly upset. And from that day forward, I had to figure out how the heck I'm gonna get out of here. And eventually ended up meeting somebody that actually already owned their own financial firm. And they actually decided they'd mentor, train me, and coach me on what I could do to have my own. And I just did everything that gentleman told me to do for the next year, and I had my own company. And that's how I got started and ended up forming my own business. So then now
Wow.
yeah, so then now I've been on my own now for 13 years.
That is amazing. So, how, okay, how did you find someone to mentor you? And the reason I ask,
Hmm.
a lot of people say, oh, I am making all this money for my employer. I'm going to
Hmm.
go out and make it for myself. And they just open up a business and, you know, things don't always go right.
Absolutely. What?
You found a mentor.
Yeah, I did. So I was introduced to him by someone who was one of my bank clients. So just by, being at JP Morgan and being at the bank, obviously people come in all the time and just having conversations. And honestly, really what I was just doing, I just tell my vision to people. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I always be talking about my vision. And from the vision, someone's like, I think I know someone who can help you. And that was the introduction of how I ended up getting introduced to somebody else. I just spoke about how I don't want to be working here forever. I want to own my own. And I just kept talking to people about that. And eventually it ended up happening. So that's kind of what happened for me. So I just spoke about what I wanted. And eventually I spoke about it to the right person. And they said, I know somebody who could probably help you with that. And then they made the introduction. And I was smart enough to just listen because because I think sometimes we want mentorship, but we're not always coachable to it. And for me, I was just going to be coachable to what the gentleman had said because he had already done it. And what made it kind of cool was that he was actually from the same side of town that I was from. So it made it even more believable that I could do it too, if that makes sense, right?
Yes.
So that's what happened. I ended up, clinging on to, and we're still in contact to this day. Like he still mentors me to this day. But yeah, that's kind of how it all happened.
Oh, that is amazing. And so now, 13 years later, you have built a successful company that is still going.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
I love that you were open to asking for help, to telling people your vision, to accepting and listening to that help. Because I find a lot of people think, well, I'm smart. I should know how to do this.
Hmm.
It's just business.
It's what I've learned is the higher you go, the more coaching you need. The higher you go, the more coaching you need. So all the
Touche.
so obviously he coached me as I started, but I need more coaching now that I'm doing better than I did when I first started because now it's a different lifestyle than when I first started. And I'm coming into situations and circumstances that I haven't experienced yet that he already has. So a fool will go ahead and make the same mistake someone else has, all right? Or a wise person will listen to the mistakes someone else has made and just do the complete opposite. So that's what I'm just doing. I'm just listening and as I go, continuously go ahead and listen and learn and listen and learn and go ahead and do that. And that's kind of been a success skill of mine is being able to just be coachable and not thinking that I know it all or that I've arrived because I don't think that by no means because there's still a lot I got a lot of left in the tank if that makes sense. I'm only 38. I got a lot of left in the tank. I got a lot left in the
Yes.
tank.
Oh my God, you have
Absolutely.
more than half your life left
Yeah.
working, right?
Yes,
But
absolutely.
so do you think, because I'm kind of curious about this, a lot of athletes
Hmm.
athletes have coaches, right?
Yes.
That's just part of being an athlete. You have a coach or two or three, right? Who kind of help you through what you're doing, your stances, your everything.
Hmm.
So, do you think that you are a lot more open to coaching and being mentored so that you can progress much more quickly than someone who's not because of the fact that you were used to it from being an athlete?
I agree with that 1,000%. Sports has helped frame my life positively majority of the time. because I have been in environments which I have to work with people or I have to be disciplined. I have to get up early. I have to set goals. I have to have strategies. So I just took all those same thing, and then on top of what you're mentioning, coaching, I just took all that same thing, just apply it to business because it all kind of translates. So for that, yeah, I 1,000% agree that being able to be coached in something else helped me to be able to be coached in business as well. And I can see it from the flip side of if you've never been in, played sports and never had a coach, and someone tries to tell you what to do, you might want to listen, or it might be harder to take coaching that way. So yeah, I 1,000% agree that because I did play sports and was used to a coach, that it's helped. But on top of that, and I didn't mention this, but I've had obviously we have so in football you have a bunch of coaches that are on a staff, right? You got your head coach who oversees everything, and then you have a bunch of positional coaches. Like if you play quarterback, you're getting coached by the quarterback coach. You play receiver, you're coached by the receiver coach, and so on and so forth. There's just so many different position coaches. But in football, when you go to practice, even in college, the goal isn't necessary to help. They're not there to help you develop as a player. They're there to help win games as a team. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right. So outside of my football team, I had an individual coach that would coach me, Tyler, as the player to develop and get better. So a gentleman by the name of Daryl Lutz was very instrumental in my development, not only just in football, but honestly becoming a man as well. He poured into me so much. He was my personal trainer from my sophomore year in college until after I graduated college. And then on top of that, I even coached football with him for a year at a high school level. So he was very instrumental in my life. Helped me believe in myself a lot more. He just poured so much confidence into me as a man that I am now today. He didn't coach me in business, but he just coached me in football, and but that translated over the next 20 plus years now. So um,
And and that's where when we had talked about the two people that you had interviewed with, right? One of them saw the value in training for the NFL because it does take a lot of discipline. It
yes.
takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy. It's your whole life. You have to be coachable, right? Because
Hmm.
you have to listen to what your mentors and coaches are telling you to do so that you can improve. Um, and so I love that whole story and how it all played out for you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome.
So now going to your business, I know you
Yes.
had a mentor and you did everything your mentor taught you and you're coachable, but did you have any obstacles in trying to build your business, especially at the beginning or even now?
Yeah, absolutely. In the beginning, and I tell people this, when there's going to be growth, it's going to look messy.
Yes.
Growth is usually messy. So my biggest problem is okay. So I don't have you ever heard the acronym STAR, STAR, and all it is just personality types. So S stands for structure, T stands for technical, A stands for action, then R stands for relationship. And on that of the personality type, structure, technical, action, relationship, I'm a double AR. I'm action. I'm all about the action. Action, action, action. So that means I wasn't too structured, not very technical, and but then I know how to build relationships because I've been in, team sports. So what I had to do is figure out a way to go ahead and get structured. Although I wasn't structured, the good thing is my significant other is. So she's very structured. So for me, having her come into business with me helped a lot because then it put structure to our business. Being able to track business, track our agency, track what's going on. So that kind of helped quite a bit. So for me, in the beginning, it's a whole lot of chaos. Controlled chaos, you know what I mean? For the most part, but it's a lot of chaos trying to grow a business up front. And then what you have to do is find structure and get an operations team. So for me, implementing my wife, getting the right operations team really helped when it came to scaling and kind of moving forward. Because prior to that, I was a mess. I mean, I knew where things were at, but if you're like, how did I get to this? Like,
See, you've just brought up a couple of really, really good points.
okay.
One that I'm a big, big fan of is strengthen your strengths and delegate your weaknesses,
Yes.
right? God made us all different.
Hmm.
We all have different strengths. And so why do we always have feel like we have to work on our weaknesses and make them stronger? And no, we don't have to do everything all by ourselves,
Hmm.
right? If we strengthen our strengths, we can be so much better and serve so much better rather than focusing on our weaknesses and trying to be okay at something, right? And so
Absolutely.
you did that. You got your wife to come in whose strong suit is not yours, right? And so you delegated your weakness of organization to someone else who then helped you create this amazing thing,
Yes,
right? And the
absolutely.
other thing you were talking about was the structure and tracking,
Hmm.
right? You cannot improve that which you cannot measure.
Absolutely.
So when you're tracking and you're organized and you see, and if you can't do it, like, like Tyler, find someone else who can do it for you, right? Because that's what's going to help you figure out what your next step is. That's what's going to help you do things that move the needle forward rather than just busy work and being
Yep.
chaotic all the time. And so, yes, all of us, including me, when we first start a business, it is so chaotic. You're doing
Yes, it is.
everything all yourself, you're trying to figure it out, and that's okay. But then you have to ask for help. You have to find those pieces and those people who can come in and plug your weaknesses, those holes in the bucket, right?
Absolutely.
Um,
I
so
agree
that
so much.
that is awesome.
And then even for especially for people if you're just starting your business too, there's ways to get inexpensive help. Like there's so many VAs out there now. Like that really wasn't a thing when I got started, you know. So and
Yeah.
we also didn't have AI to ask questions too either. Like there's so many different resources at our fingertips now. It's just now are you going to put in the work to go find them? So I just think for people who are starting out, there's different ways you can figure out ways to get organized without, you know, blowing the bank to go ahead and pay somebody, a large salary up front. So there's definitely ways to do that.
Yes, 100%. Are there any other obstacles that you can share with us?
Yeah, so after that, my next part was trying because I don't okay, how do I say this properly?
Oh, just say
Um
it. We're all
okay.
friends
Yeah,
here, right?
absolutely. No, what I'm trying to say is okay, so I do finances. Like that's what my company is. I do finances for, for professional athletes, business owners, families. We do all that, which is cool. But I don't want to do every single appointment. Okay, so from there, I had to go ahead and start developing a, an agency, a sales team, licensed professionals that can do what I can do, so for me to go ahead and train. So the next part is going to be looking for and hiring and training people. That's a skill in itself. So it's a completely different skill from doing it yourself compared to coaching somebody into doing it. Two completely different skills. So I had to start looking for, finding, mentoring, training people. And that was a whole different obstacle I had to overcome because you think you got somebody good and you find out they ain't too good. So that's an obstacle itself is hiring, finding the right people, developing them. So now you have an operations team, and then you also have a sales team per se. And now you're kind of moving forward from there. But developing the sales team and mentoring them and training them and teaching them how to do it. And one thing that I've noticed and learned is that not everyone has people skills.
Oh, yes.
And I've learned that common sense ain't too common. Uh,
100%
right.
true.
So I'm finding out that as I'm growing, that I'm having to train people on how to talk to people. Like I thought it was not knowing because since I played sports and I got, I didn't mention this, I got six sisters and four brothers. Um, I've been around people my whole life, so I understand people, but that's not everybody. And that's not a strength for everybody. And speaking is not a strength for everybody. So you said something earlier that resonated with me quite a bit is being able to leverage and delegate different tasks. So my skill is speaking. So I don't mind speaking. I don't mind doing a video, sending it out for a training or whatever I got to do to go ahead and do that and coaching people that way. I might not always want to sit down with the client. And not saying that I won't, but that's not a skill that I want to focus on right now because that's not where we're at in order for as far as for us to scale properly. I do it every now and then still, but I prefer to kind of focus on my strengths, which is speaking, and that's why I do podcasts and things like this, so I can go ahead and educate and get information out there to people.
And so you're the CEO rainmaker of the company where you're working on the company, right?
Yes,
Giving those educational speaking engagements, getting, people to know who you are, helping, right? And trying to get them into the business so that your people can take care of them,
correct,
right?
exactly how it is. So I speak, and then I got a podcast like as well that you will be on hopefully in the future.
Thank you.
Absolutely. When I'm speaking about finances, educating people because I just want to bring value to it because when I found out a couple of things, one, the number one reason for divorce is because of finances. Because remember I mentioned I wanted to be a marriage counselor, so that's part of the reason why finances made sense. I wanted to help lower that divorce rate. And then two, I'm big on health. And the number one cause for people getting sick is stress. The number one cause of stress is money. So if I can help people get out of that situation of focusing on money and they can really live their life. So I live my life by something called the five F's, which stands for faith, family, fitness, finances, and fun. And I think if you have all those working in your life properly, you have the sixth F, which is called freedom. And that's what I want everyone to have. I want everyone to have, go ahead and live by their five F's. You don't have to be the same faith as I am, but have some type of faith in something. I want your family to be in order. That means that goes for you and your kids, you and your spouse, whatever it may be. I want that to be in order. I want your fitness in order as well because um, health is wealth. That's really where wealth is. Because you tell me about a billionaire that has cancer, he much would rather exchange all his money to go ahead and be healthy.
Yep.
So we want to focus on the health, and then we want to go ahead and make sure your finances are in order. And what I've started to notice so much as being an adult, a lot of us do not know how to have fun anymore. We don't know.
Right.
It's crazy. Like I asked him, well, what do you do for fun? Well, yeah, I go to work. What? What? Well, hang out with my kids. That is fun. I get it. But eventually, kids got to go to bed. What you like to do, man? And we just forget to have fun as far as that. So I want to help people get the five F's going back in their life.
And I love it because I love your five F's. I'm gonna write them down after we're done with this and just post them on my wall
Hmm.
with the sixth one because really the goal is the
This,
freedom,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But it's so true. I don't know if you're familiar with like Dr. Joe Dispenza and his work and people in that field, but it has been proven that when you have faith in something bigger than you,
Hmm.
your brain actually changes and your life becomes better.
Yeah.
Right? You de-stress, so you're healthier. So that faith from the beginning actually helps the rest of the five.
Everything. Everything.
And you're right, you don't have to believe in the same things I do or you do or whatnot. We can all have our own faith in whatever it is that we believe in. And then family. I mean, family is the most important part of your life. Who else are
Yes.
you doing this for? Right? So we have to have them in there. And having faith and hanging out with family actually does de-stress you.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 1000% agree.
Oh, and you need to keep your money so you can buy good food instead
Cool.
of junk so you can stay healthy. And so all of them kind of work together as a cohesive unit,
Yes.
for a better life. I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't have time to take care of myself.
Yeah, I think we have time for whatever we value whatever we spend time on. So if you don't have time for it, you just don't value it at the moment. And you don't start valuing it until you find out how much you need it. And, I just truly believe proper preparation prevents poor performance. So I want to make sure I'm going ahead and being properly prepared. I've also heard this, that an ounce of prevention, sorry, an ounce of, yeah, an ounce
Yeah.
of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Right. So I want to make sure I'm already up to date with all that stuff. I want to prevent things from happening. I don't want to try to get cure when something happens. So a lot, and we all have the same 24 hours. Like, let's just be real. We all got the same 24. Just schedule it in. Like I get to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning every morning. Right, 6 o'clock, between 6 to 6:30 every morning, Monday through Saturday. I'm in there working out,
And you have 4 kids.
and I bring two of them
And
with
you
me,
have a business.
and I got a business. Right, I bring two of
Right?
the kids with me every morning. They're with me.
Oh, I love it. Get them
Yes,
healthy and fit right from the beginning. It's funny because I always tell my clients, and I ask them, I'm like, don't you owe it to your clients to be the best version of yourself?
yes, we do.
Okay. Don't you owe it to your family to be the best version of yourself?
Yes, we do.
Don't you owe it to your friends to be the best version of yourself?
Yes, we
Then
do.
how are you going to give them the best version of yourself if you're not taking care of yourself? You're
Yep.
being selfish by not taking care of yourself,
I agree. I agree.
right? So it is very important, the self-care. And so, oh, this is great. Let's shift a little bit and go
Okay.
to what's working in your business and how did you get it to work?
Okay. What's working for me? So pre-recordings work quite a bit. And what I mean by that, I have a free course that I offer. So that's kind of the how people get into my ecosystem, right?
Okay.
So I have a free course that people can go and get into. And the free course is about finances. The first thing in the course talks about the mindset, your money mindset, because a lot of us come up or we've created or we've bought into stigmatisms that we had since we were a child, right? One thing that I heard, a lot of my life is, money doesn't grow on trees. Well, how do they print it then? Because it definitely comes on paper. Or it's hard to get money. Or probably one of the biggest misconceptions, money is the root of all evil. Like, no, that's not what it says. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. So, which is a big difference.
Yeah.
So I do have part of the course is the module speaking about the money mindset and how to change your mindset when it comes to money. Then the next portion goes into budgeting, then how to get out of debt, then how to go ahead and start an emergency fund, then how to go ahead and start saving for your future, then talking about life insurance and talking about having a trust and talking about saving for your kids' college. So it's a free course that anyone can have access to, talking about that. So that course gets people in my ecosystem. All right, it's me speaking on it. That's why I say I love to use my skills. I did a course, send people to it. They go learn, get some free information. Then from there, if they want to potentially become a client, they can book a time. Then someone on my team can go ahead and help them that way. If they're like, you know what, I need more in depth and they want coaching, I coach people in the 5 Fs from there if they want to go ahead and do that. So that's kind of what's been
That's
working
awesome.
for us.
So how can people get into your free course? What's
Oh, they can go to our website, moneymasternation.com, and then they'll click on Money Master University, and then there you go. They click on it and now they're in.
Okay, moneymasternation.com. If you missed that, don't worry. It will be in the comments and at the end of the show as well, because I do believe that anytime you can get some valuable information on your finances, you should take advantage of that. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And is there anything else that you would like to tell our audience about business, about running a successful business, or even finances, how you
Mhm.
actually help people?
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of times what we do is we're helping people with their preservation of their wealth. So a lot of times when you hear most people talk about finance, they're talking about, okay, well, how do I grow? What stock do I get into? What stock do I buy? Which is cool, and that's awesome. And there's a lot of different strategies on how to do that. Our focus is typically going to be for people who have some wealth and they want to make sure that they can preserve it, use it for retirement, and even pass on to the next generation as well. And that's really where we kind of specialize in, okay, in that area. Because when it comes to money, there's like three different stages. You have the accumulation stage, the protection stage, and the distribution stage. So the accumulation stage is typically going to be from, zero until you're like 50. Right? You want to accumulate as much as you possibly can. And then once you get to 50 to like 65, you're trying to go ahead and protect it now because now that you have some wealth, there's so many different types of people that can want to come after you. Okay. And we teach people how to properly protect it. And then there's the distribution phase on how they can start taking it out and based upon how they're going to pay taxes on it. There's, you can pay taxes now, later, or something else called tax advantage. And a lot of people like those type of options, being able to have their money protected and have advantages on it, which they don't have to worry about paying taxes when they're starting to take distributions.
That
So,
I love it because I always want to pay Uncle Sam every penny that he's due, right?
mhm,
Because I do believe in the taxation system. I believe in having working roads. I believe in having all the infrastructure. But at the same time, I don't want to pay more than I have to. But,
exactly. I don't
right?
mind paying my fair share.
Yes. And so I love that you have these strategies that help people minimize what they have to pay and they can just pay what they actually owe
Yeah,
rather than falling in those loopholes and paying extra for no reason just because
absolutely.
they didn't know.
Yeah, there's strategies out there in which you can put your money into, in which your money can actually grow tax free. You can take it out tax free. It's protected from the courts, the IRS, taxes, litigations, lawsuits, malpractice, divorce in most states, child supports in most states, bankruptcies, and stock market risk. But people just don't know this because there's no financial education in schools, right? So that's why I'm called a financial educator because all I want to do is just spread the good news. Spread the good news. You don't have to have went to Harvard to understand your finances. You don't have to have went to Yale. You don't have to have that level of education to understand where you're at and how to have access to it and how to do some right things and save properly and things like that. So yeah, my job is just to spread the knowledge, help people get more educated on their finances, be more confident and competent. I say those two things right there for sure.
That yes, and I love that because a lot of people know how to make money,
Yep,
but they don't know how to keep it.
absolutely not.
Because
Absolutely not.
we're not educated on that,
Mhm.
right? Your school is about keep your head down, do your work, memorize what's in front of you, listen to authority, and maybe you can get a good job that you can keep your head down, do your work, listen to authority, and then die, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not what we're made for. That's not these new generations that are coming up are not happy with that, and I
no,
can't
absolutely
blame
not.
them,
Yeah,
right? So I love that you're educating people on how to keep their money rather than
yes,
continue this cycle of make and spend and make and spend. And oh my God, now I'm 65 and I have to go work at, a grocery store
yeah,
bagging groceries
it's
because I
true.
can't, right?
It's so true.
Um,
And you just described what I call the 40-40-40 plan. You work 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life to live on 40% of what you made in retirement. That sounds like hell to me, right?
yeah, no,
That's-
thank you. No,
like,
I'm
that
good.
sounds horrible.
But
Absolutely not. Like, no. But unfortunately, that's what people have signed up for unwillingly. And because they're not properly educated, don't know what to do, they just do whatever plans they're told at work and they're hoping that it works. And a lot of times, I think what happens is when people come across someone like myself, they think, well, I don't have enough money or I'm going to get charged too much. Well, the good news about what we do is this: we actually don't take fees from our clients.
what?
Mm. Who pays me is whichever company we place them with. So I'm a broker, so I have access to, several different, not just several, um, probably 30, 40 plus different companies at our fingertips, all A-rated type companies, in which whenever we place a client with them, they're the ones who compensate us. We don't take it out of our client's pocket.
I love it. So, okay, we're running out of time,
Mhm,
but I want to get this point across to people is you have fiduciaries and
mhm,
you have dual fiduciaries, right? And so if they have a financial advisor or someone who works for a certain company that sells products, they're only getting that company's products and not
yes,
necessarily what's best for them out there.
that's 1,000% true.
Okay.
When I
And
when I
then
that's part of the reason why I left JP Morgan because that's all I could tell.
was JP Morgan. Even if
Yeah,
there was something better for your client,
can't do nothing
you
about it.
can't do anything,
Correct.
right? But because you have your own company and you have access to all of these different companies that offer the financial services,
Hmm.
you can find the best plan for your clients, notwithstanding who sells it.
Correct. Like I have absolutely no loyalty to any of those companies. My loyalty is to the client. Like I don't care. Like I have no loyalty to them. If I want to, I can get rid of them tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Right? My
It,
loyalty is to the client to find what's their best need, then match them with the company that will fit that need. That's what we do. And I always it's always for us, and it's been like this since I've been in business. It's always the mission before the commission. We must do what's right for the people. We're not worried about our compensation. Okay, because it's
it
really
will come.
about, yeah, exactly. It's about building relationships. This is a relationship building type of business. So it's not just wham bam, I'm done. I never talk to you. Like, no, like you're our client now. You're gonna be getting annual reviews. We're gonna be meeting together. Like some of my clients, like they like me so much. I get invited to all kinds of stuff. Like been invited to weddings. I've been invited to baby showers. I've been, invited to all kinds of different things because people are my clients and they like the services. But more importantly, I think they like me as a person, right? Which I'm just to my own horn just a little bit, just a little bit. Uh, but and that's kind of what I like is, then we're doing life together now. It's not just we never talk again, which is pretty cool. So I'm constantly building and making friends.
That is awesome. And so before I let you go,
Hmm.
two things: your contact information, which is
Oh, okay. So you can reach me. You can reach me on my website, moneymasternation.com. Also, you can reach me on Instagram at moneymaster 408. Okay. Those are two ways you can have access to me. You can get a hold of me there. Either way.
okay. And then how can we listen to your podcast?
Oh, you can go to moneymasternation.com and the podcast is on their website as well.
It's on the
It's
website.
on the same
Awesome.
website. And then you could find me on Apple and Spotify and uh, Amazon, just wherever a podcast is, you can basically listen to me there. The podcast name is Money Master. That's the name of the podcast, Money Master.
Money Master. Okay.
Mhm.
And then the second and final thing before I let you go, if you could only give business owners one piece of advice to be successful, what would that?
You can't give up.
Oh,
You can't give up. There's gonna be some amazing days, and there's gonna be days you can't stand, like you just hate. But you have to understand there are up days and down days, but reality is always just somewhere right in the middle. And also, never make a decision when you're down because that's not the real you. That's not the real you. So you got to make sure you can't quit, you can't give up. Doesn't matter how hard it's looking. Please understand everything worth having never comes easy. Keep pushing through. You and one of the most important things too, you have to have self-talk. You have to tell yourself you're the best. You have to tell yourself you can do. You have to tell yourself you can get through this. You constantly have to be talking positive to yourself because although there's going to be negative thoughts coming into your head,
fully.
you have to counteract it with positivity. So it's okay if birds fly over your head, just don't let them lay a nest there. Okay. So
I love that analogy. I just pictured it.
but that's what I'd say to anybody.
Thank you so much. This has been so great. I really appreciate all the value that you've given us today. And for my listeners, thank you for being here and supporting us as we support you. And we will see you next time.